Right then, welcome back to another vid, another Games X vid. And this one, as you can see, from the 14th to the 20th of June 1991, issue number 8. Unbelievable. I remember buying this magazine on my paper round, or when I had my paper round, back in, well, would have been 1991, funnily enough. And yeah, one of my favourite magazines of all time. Just nostalgically, I just remember, finishing my paper round, getting paid for it, probably just a couple of quid. And yeah, just basically buying, I guess, some... What were them things called? Does anyone remember them? They were kind of like love hearts, but they were like football. They had football teams written on them, and they came with like a free sticker, and you could send away for a poster and put all the stickers on. I think they were called soccer shields. I stand corrected on that. I'll have to Google it maybe. But I'd buy like a couple of packs of them, whatever else, a Lion Bar, I don't know, and a copy of Games X, or any other kind of magazine which was doing the rounds at the time. So yeah, huge nostalgia for this magazine. And for anyone who doesn't know, it was a weekly mag that came out, well, as I keep saying, in 1991. It finished in 92. It lasted just shy of a year, around about, just about a week or two short of a year. So it wasn't so much of a success, but very novel and unique, niche really, in the fact that it was a weekly games magazine. Now, I know there's that other one that comes out every week. I think it still does. Is it Computer Trade Weekly? I think that's what it's called. But if I'm not mistaken, that's more of like a business magazine, for the industry. It's not really something which I think is released in the shops for people to buy. So this is very unique in the sense that it was a gaming magazine aimed ultimately, I guess, at kids. And but yeah, it came out every week, and it didn't really work. But it was an absolute flop in terms of them making a profit on it. But nostalgically, absolutely hugely important magazine. And I really like it. So there we go, it's for the Amiga, the ST, all the consoles, Commodore 64, PC, Spectrum, and more. Didn't say Amstrad, I'm not happy with that. I guess that comes under and more. But come on, the Amstrad, that should have its own bloody heading up there. Again, I guess I'm a bit biased. So, there we go, it's a little bit of an exclusive there. Little Bew, Beastbusters, Ocean Elf, well, you can read the rest, and we'll come across it in the magazine. Street Talk, of course, the best part of the mag. Flight sims. By the way, if you can hear some creaking, let's do some in the background. Can you hear that? Maybe you can't. That's just this chair I'm on. It's very creaky. Just in case you wondered what that was, if you hear it. So turn the page straight away onto the new section. We get Wing Commander, or Wing Commander 2. Yeah, I remember playing one of the Wing Commander games. I don't know which one it was. Maybe it could have been this one, number 2, or the first one even, on my friend's PC, and it was really good. And I really wanted it at the time for my ST. But I don't think it came out, or maybe it did. I'm not really certain on that one. But it was really good graphically, and as you can see there, I still think that looks pretty decent, to be honest. But again, it's, nostalgia probably creeping in. But still, pretty decent. What else have we got? Cisco Hey Yeah driving game. I used to really like the look of that in the arcades. It looked fantastic. Drop Soldier. Not really sure I've heard of that. A few others. Star Control. Looks very similar, funnily enough, to Wing Commander up there. Swap. Some news on the Game Boy games. You can always pause and read that if you like. I think the focus is just about alright for you to read. A game called Armalite, a shooter, on the Amiga and the ST. Don't think I've heard of that one before. Check that guy out. What's going on there? It's like Jesus. And then we've got some interesting news here on the Jaguar. So if I try and read it through this thing, which isn't as easy as you'd think, Atari has announced a 64-bit console which will hopefully hit the streets late next year. Well, it didn't, did it? Was it more like 93 it came out, late 93? The Mega Console has been codenamed the Jaguar. Apparently, the Panther and Jaguar were being developed in parallel, but things were going so well on the latter that Atari decided to put a halt on the 16-bit development program. President of Atari, Sam Tramiel, probably got that wrong, talked excitedly of an incredible, absolutely amazing new generation console. Tramiel added, "The graphics and sound are just stunning. You have to see it to really understand how good it is. On the TV screen itself, it will be so advanced, you just won't believe it." Well, I think, time has proven, I guess not so kind, if you like. Or time hasn't been so kind on the Jaguar. I don't think it looks particularly good. There's a few games which, do look quite nice, to be fair. One of my favourites was Aliens vs Predator. And I remember that at the time was going for... this is about 10, 12 years ago when I bought it. But even then on eBay, when eBay kind of started, on eBay, Aliens vs Predator was going for like, 50, 60 quid. And I remember buying it with an Atari Jaguar console. I buy it now for £40. And I remember thinking, oh, that's amazing, I can't believe it. And then a few days later, I think I just sold it at a massive profit as well. Look at that. Focus is rubbish. So yeah, I've got brief experience with the Jaguar, and I don't really see me getting back into it anytime soon, to be honest. I know me and Pete's Nestastic, we talked about it, well, it must have been a good 2 or 3 years ago now, and we did start to pick up a few games, but I think we quickly realised it wasn't really for us then. But hey, in the future, never say never, but it's not something which, is on the radar, I've got to be honest. But anyway, that's that. So we come to the second page of news, a game called Darklands, or Darklands. Now, I think this is for the PC, but just looking at the graphics down there at the bottom, it does look quite nice. I'm pretty certain this also came out on the Amiga and the ST, but I could be confusing that with something else. But I quite like the look of that, with the, the knights pitching up there with their swords and all that kind of stuff. What have we got up here? Nebulous 2. I mean, graphically, just the background, it's a completely different style of game, but it reminds me of a game called Onslaught. It's just the same colour scheme. I wonder if it's made by the same people. Quite possibly. Hostages. Yeah, Hostages, I keep meaning to buy that back. Graphically, it looked really stunning. Again, for the Amiga and the ST, maybe for the PC. Always meant to get it, still not to buy it. Or still to buy it, I should say. Still not to buy it. But I do want to get it eventually. And then down here, zoom out a little bit. What the hell is that? Ultima. Interesting. And then G-Lock. Yeah, I remember going on one of those, the arcade cabs. You sit in and the wheel kind of turns around and, it makes you feel bloody dizzy. Speaking of dizzy, I think we might have a dizzy game. There we are. Well timed. Dizzy Collection, number 1 on the Gallup charts. So yeah, these charts aren't really going to change, are they? Because this is only issue number 8 that I've done. So really, the games that we're going to see are pretty much always the same. It's only as we start to get, to issues 15, 20, 30, etc. that we'll start to see different games coming in. But I guess I can pick a few out that I used to like. Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, of course. Lemmings, Gods is fantastic. Brilliant music. Monkey Island. Well, like I say, you can work the rest out for yourself. Predator 2, I remember trying to get into that. I just couldn't really. I remember getting the movie and quite liking that. And we watched it on like a pirate video, VHS. A friend of mine brought it around, and it seemed really kind of cool, and we were like breaking the law, and it was amazing. Like, we were watching Predator 2 on this dodgy VHS before it was even out in the cinema over here, and the quality was bollocks. But it didn't matter, because we were watching it before anyone else, and we could go into school the next day and brag about it. It wasn't that great, really. It wasn't poor, but yeah, not as good as I remember. Not as good as I hoped, I should say. So Paperboy 2. It's funny, there used to be a programme, let me see, when would it have been? Like the mid to late 80s, and I can't remember what you call it. It was kind of like a game show, sort of like a cross between University Challenge and Blockbusters, and they'd have games on there. I don't know if it was just a segment of the show or whether it was all about games. And one of the games they'd go on was Paperboy. And that's what first made me aware of that game. I can't remember what the TV programme was called. But again, I guess Google is my friend there. And then what's coming out? Well, nothing really sticking out, I've got to be honest. Heart of China there by Sierra on the PC. But again, I think that also came out on the Amiga and the ST. Sort of like a graphic adventure. That was a pretty decent game. But everything else, I don't know, unless I'm immediately missing something there, not really that bothered about the rest of it. So that's that. An advert for Electro Games. Any bargains sticking out? Got a Famicom there, 300 quid. Final Fight 45. All pretty pricey stuff, really. The Games X Budget Bonanza. The competition. We could still technically enter it, but yeah, I'm not sure we'd be winning any prizes in 2013. So here we've got an article on the CES show, which on this occasion was held in Chicago, or maybe it always is. I haven't got a clue, to be honest. But I don't really think you'll want to read that, but maybe you will. Maybe you won't, I don't know. But yeah, just basically talking about what was there at that show. It seems, judging by that little line there, that there's a lot of Game Boy stuff. There's Mario there pitching up with their thingamabob. Yoshi. Bit of Sonic action at the bottom. And then up here, look at that, it's interesting. If it wants to focus, it doesn't want to focus, does it? The launch of the show. Well, basically, it's talking about the... in fact, that is absolutely rubbish. Come on, focus. Right, there we go. Little bit of a jump cut, and it finally wants to focus. I know the camera's kind of moving all over the place because I'm moving all over the place. But yeah, it's basically talking about the launch of the SNES, or at least in America. And as it says there, the equivalent to the TurboGrafx 16 and the Mega Drive, and launched at $199.99. So $200 is around about 150 quid, which is a very good price. Imagine the PS4 or the 720 coming out, you know, later on this year for 150 quid. It's just simply not going to happen. But I've got to be honest, I do like the American SNES. I think it looks really nice. And, you know, and I'm a very nostalgic person, so I've got a particular attachment to the PAL one. But this one looks good. And this is the one I've got, actually, as well. And there's a bit more information, which you may want to read, you may want to not. But either way, there it is. Yeah, brilliant console, the SNES, and it was a year later that I got mine, or Christmas of '92. And yeah, a hugely nostalgic system. Special reserve, again, we can see if there's any bargains, but it's probably just the same advert as last month, to be honest. Game Boy, 70 quid, the Lynx for 100, and the Mega Drive for 150 with Altered Beast. Which, I was watching a review of that yesterday, someone was talking of how great it was, and I think Altered Beast is bollocks, I've got to be honest. Nostalgically, it's great, and I can put it on for 20 minutes and have a laugh. But as a game, I don't think it's very good. But, you know, it's subjective, isn't it? We all like different things, what can I say? So anyway, the first review, Little Bew, that rhymes. And this is for the Amiga, also available for the ST, Commodore 64 and the Spectrum. So yeah, a bit of a sort of a platform romp, I guess, essentially. Did I play it back in the day? I think I did. I can't remember. There's so many games out, you know, for the 8 and 16-bit systems that sometimes it's impossible to remember what you played and what you didn't. But it doesn't look like anything which is, you know, amazing. Although in saying that, that's strange. In saying that, it got 4 out of 5. Speaking of strange, check that out. How bizarre. Yeah, 4 out of 5, so obviously a decent game. So we've got this double spread thing here, so I'll turn the magazine around. And the first one up is Elf on the Amiga, also available on the ST, 4 out of 5. And again, I mean, it was kind of flavour of the month back then, wasn't it? You know, platform games, that's what sold, that's what people liked. These days it tends to be first-person shooters, which, I mean, I do like my first-person shooters, if I'm honest, but I think it's more than fair to say we've reached saturation point. And yeah, it's just kind of a case of, come on, let's have something a little bit new. And that's why recently I've started to, you know, really get back into games like Little Big Planet on the PS3. Such an amazing game. Very creative. And it just makes a change from, you know, playing shooters all the time. I mean, I know I upload that Call of Duty stuff, but yeah, even I'm a little bit bored of Call of Duty these days. But that's an argument for another day, I guess. England Championship Special. And this one on the Amiga again. Very Amiga heavy this month. But also available for a plethora of other systems, as you can see. 1 out of 5. And there's the England squad. Which, let me see, yeah, this was leading up to, I guess, the following year, Euro 92. With Graham Taylor in charge. Did a rubbish job. Picked rubbish players. And substituted Gary Lineker in his last ever game. What a moron. You know, honestly. Yeah, tactically naive, I guess. And graphically, well, you know, it's funny actually, in terms of the pitch and the way the goals are, it looks exactly like Italy 90. In terms of the sprites, the players, then it's more akin to, say, what's that game on the Mega Drive? Is it World Cup Italia 90? I think it was. So like a cross between those two games. And then you get your stuff down there, the digitised kind of graphics, which at the time, as a kid, looked absolutely amazing. Doesn't really want to focus again there. In fact, oh, there we go. Gaza, 23. And is that meant to be like Jimmy Hill, I guess? And a referee? But yeah, I remember seeing these digitised graphics and thinking, oh, it looks amazing. Whereas now, it's rubbish. It's good for the time, of course, but yeah, a long time ago. Next up, oh my god, how are we pronouncing this one? Nobunagasis? Yeah, Nobunagasis' ambition. Christ almighty, forget it. You can have a go at that yourself. and you probably got it first time. For the Game Boy, 3 out of 5. And if you want to see some screenshots, I mean, can you? Because even without looking at this through the camera, just looking, you know, with the naked eye at the magazine, it's hard to tell. The screenshots don't come across very well at all. Can't even tell what kind of game it is. Is it sort of a Zelda-y kind of RPG game or elements to it? And there's the title screen. No frills there. 3 out of 5, I guess it's not too bad. Robin Smith's International Cricket, check that out. That's meant to be Robin Smith. It doesn't look anything like Robin Smith. But I guess, again, it's that kind of digitised look of the graphics back then. I'll just get a closer look at that. Come on, zoom in. Look at that. That is ridiculous. Yeah, doesn't look anything like Robin Smith. And look at his back. It's like the Hunchback. So there's a bit of a, again, if you want to read that, and I highly doubt you do. 2 out of 5. And did I say this one's for the ST, or reviewed on the ST, but also for the Amiga? So it looks very stat heavy. So I mean, if you like your cricket, which incidentally I do, I really like my cricket, but I don't think I'll be going to this one anytime soon. But I do want to import on the PlayStation 3. I think there's Ashes Cricket 2009. There's International Cricket. I think it's just called International Cricket 2012 or something, not really sure. And then there's a new one coming out, Ashes 2013, which I guess will be coming out in the next kind of couple of months. And that's the greatest thing of the PlayStation 3. You know, it's region free, so I can import them, because obviously cricket games aren't available over here. So much like my Take That game, shut up, don't talk about that, for the PlayStation 3, I'm going to have to import them, but not a problem. Okay, next up on the Amiga, also available on the ST, 4 out of 5, we've got Beast Busters. Now, I'm pretty certain a demo of Beast Busters came with a Games X mag, and it may have been the next one, next issue after this. I guess we'll see when we come to gloss over that magazine. But yeah, I remember playing it, and it was pretty decent, to be fair. I mean, you know, the 4 out of 5 rating is probably justified. I don't know what the hell that is. But yeah, just think of a game like Operation Wolf or Operation Thunderbolt. Basically, a light gun game, if you like. Or obviously you could use the keyboard or the joystick, usually. And it's just kind of a zombie thing going on there. So yeah, it doesn't look too bad, to be honest. Although, look at what the hell's going on there. Strange kind of dance they're doing. But yeah, you know, it's a decent game, but nothing particularly amazing. Flight Simulator, or Flight Simulator 4. This one's for the PC and gets 5 out of 5. Yeah, I mean, the PC was notorious, wasn't it? I guess notorious isn't the right word to use. It sounds almost critical. It was well known for Flight Simulator games. I guess the hardware could do it really well. And graphically, alright, it does look basic, but at the same time, it looks impressive. You know, how they got it to run. And the intricacies of these kind of games. So, yeah, nothing something I'll be playing anytime soon. But, yeah, 5 out of 5, I can definitely see why it got that rating. Okay, next up we've got these little mini reviews that gain access to all the latest info on your format. First one up, getting 3 out of 5. And there's the gameplay, lastability and presentation marks, in case you want to see them. We've got Crackdown on the Mega Drive. There we go, that's that one. Yeah, I always thought Crackdown was like a first-person shooter. I was just under the impression, I don't know why, but I don't think it is. I've still not played it all these years later. I think it's more like is it like an RPG, or has elements to it anyway of that? Well, I could be wrong, but I know I've not played it. But the cover is of kind of like a, what is it in the background, like a bloody lamb or something with 2 guys on either side with guns. I guess that's why I always thought it was a shooter. Right, sorry about that, the battery went, so here we go again, part 2 I guess. Discovery on the Amiga, now that looks really good. Graphically, look at that, I think it looks good anyway. A little bit ropey there, but not too bad at all. 4 out of 5, and that's called Discovery, so I think I'm going to have to discover that one in a bit. I'll go on Google or maybe YouTube and have a look. Z out, or Z out. I guess depending on how you want to say it. It's funny actually, I was only talking with Pete the other day, Snestastic, about this, because there's some people out there, Ash81B4U, who will pronounce the first game called Cross Out, and I will call it X Out. Now, Ash is probably right, it probably is Cross Out, but ever since I was a kid, I've just always called it X Out, and I guess I'm always going to call this one Z Out rather than Z Out. But yeah, either way, X Out, Cross Out, Z Out, Z Out, whatever you want to call them, shoot 'em up games basically, and I'm desperate to get them back in the collection. They're not that common. I wouldn't go as far as saying rare, but you usually command a good, I don't know, 10, 15 quid, if not a little bit more, I guess, depending on the condition. But 2 out of 5 there. That's not a particularly good rating, but it's one of those games I desperately want to buy back for the nostalgia, even if it's not meant to be a great game. I think sometimes nostalgia just dictates that you've got to get it, or it does with me anyway. Next one up, we've got Lemons on the PC. I mean, it's a classic on any system, isn't it? And there it just looks exactly the same as the Amiga and ST version, really. Even the 8-bit versions are quite good from memory. 5 out of 5, yeah. I mean, you've really got to give Lemons 5 out of 5. It's a classic game. Wonderland on the Amiga. Again, it looks to be a graphic adventure. I say looks to be. I've seen this game before, and maybe even back in the day I played it. It's not very expensive. It's quite common. I've seen it on eBay a lot, and just never really bought it. And 4 out of 5, I don't know if I said that, but there we are, 4 out of 5. And I love those graphic adventure games. I can really get immersed in them and really get lost while I'm playing it. It really forces you to use your imagination. So we've got Tipex, so some cheats. And if you have any of these games, Gradius 3 on the Famicom, then there's a cheat for it. Shadow Dancer on the Mega Drive. There we go. Predator 2. Speaking about that before. Look at that. Pause the game and then type in your one ugly mother. And you get infinite lives, bullets and energy. Oh, look at that. Watch out though. Our version crashed after a few minutes. Well, that's not much use, is it? Dropship. Never heard of that one before. And what the hell is that? That A, is that some kind of system logo? I haven't got a clue what that is. Total Recall. Oh, man alive. I remember going to buy the VHS for Total Recall. And there's the cheat in case you want to see it. I highly doubt it. Look at that. Type in Jimi Hendrix for infinite energy. Strider 2. I used to love Strider 2. Yeah, I went to buy Total Recall. It was around about this time, I guess, because I had my paper round at the time. It was the very same shop that I was in. And there was a woman there, the manager, called Rowena, which is a bit of an unusual name. And I went in there with a friend, I can't remember which one, and I picked up the Total Recall VHS video, and I took it to the counter, and she was, like, serving. And so she knew me because, obviously, you know, I did the paper round there. And she went, oh, I can't, serve you. I can't let you buy this, because I was 13. And I went, well, why not? She went, well, it's an 18. And really quickly on my feet, like really sneaky, I went, oh, because it was around about Christmas time. I went, oh, it's for my dad. He wants it for Christmas. And obviously it put her in a bit of a predicament, really, because, she didn't want to not serve me because it was a Christmas present. Well, it wasn't, but she thought it was. And but on the other hand, she couldn't because I was under 18. And in the end, I guess she felt a bit guilty. The guilt trip worked. And she, under much duress, she had to, well, didn't have to, but she did sell me Total Recall for my dad for Christmas. It wasn't for my dad, it's for me. So, so me and my mate went back to our place and we just watched it. Brilliant. Naivety of youth, happy days. So here we've got a guide to Switchblade 2. Again, another one of these games I am desperate to get back, but not the budget version. It's got to be the big box version in good condition. ST or Amiga, couldn't care less. Basically the same. The boxes just look the same anyway, so it doesn't matter. Just a kind of a standard platform fare, really. Nothing particularly stand out on this game, but just a nostalgic classic. And I think it's good. And here we've got Shadow Dancer, Player's Guide. Again, doesn't look too different to Switchblade 2 or Strider 2. They all really look the same, didn't they? But again, another game which is hugely nostalgic for me. And I think it looks nice, still. Probably always will, all these years later. And I know obviously this is available on the Mega Drive and the Genesis. So I may pick that up. I've kind of softened my stance lately on the whole PAL NTSC thing. I wasn't going to persevere with the Genesis, which, incidentally, there we are. Dust all over it. Nearly dropped the camera there. Yeah, but do you know what? I've just kind of looked at the logistics, I guess, of importing PAL games, and it's so expensive. And I'm not going for full sets or anything, he says. So I don't really, at this moment in time, see the point of importing a load of PAL games when it's going to cost me so much money. So if it's a game I really want to play, I might just get the Genesis version. It makes sense. It's just kind of common sense, isn't it, really? Here we go again. Remember this from a few weeks back, or a few issues back? Or maybe it was the previous one. Games reviewers wanted. How easy was it to get a job back then? Unbelievable. Kind of makes me wish I was my age that I am now back then, and I could have just applied and got the job probably. Or maybe not. Who knows? If it's anything to go by the interview I had at Sega Pro, or was it Sega Power? Can't remember. But yeah, if you don't know the story to that, you should watch the last video diary I did. I need to do another one of them, or just more of them in general. But yeah, a story of saying the wrong thing at an interview for a video game magazine. That was stupid of me. Gallup charts. So this is for everything, whereas the one we saw earlier on in the magazine was just for like an all formats thing. So on the Amiga, that's what we've got. Decent games there. Next up is the Atari ST. Gods at number 1. Again, brilliant music. I just feel, inclined to say brilliant music every time I ever see Gods written anywhere. There's the Amstrad there. Brilliant system. North and South, number 8. It's a really good game. On any system, quite frankly. Commodore 64. Dizzy, number 1, obviously. Dizzy at number 1 again on the Spectrum. So doing the whole rounds there, I think, on the 8-bit machines. On the PC, Lemmings. Reviewed in this mag, as we saw, 5 out of 5. And then there's the budget labels. And once again, as I always say, back then dominated, really, by Codemasters and the Dizzy games. Or Quick Snacks, another one by Codemasters, everywhere. CJ's Elephant Antics. Unbelievable. They must have made, well, I know they did, an absolute fortune. So that's that. There's another store, I guess, to buy. Or buy stuff from. Console Concepts. Mail order, I guess was the term I'm looking for. Do yourself a favour. Join the number 1 Sega. Number 1 Sega what? Join the number 1 Sega. Am I missing something here? Ah, there we go. Number 1 Sega Club. Did they just miss the word club out up there? or was that just the rhyme? Do yourself a favour. Join the number 1 Sega. Which works, but not initially, because you just have the reaction I had, which is, do yourself a favour, join the number 1 Sega... Where's the other word? That didn't really work. Dr. X. Yeah, sarcastic guy. People would write in with a bit of a letter, and I guess you can maybe get a bit of a flavour for what he's like with his answers there. If you want to pause it and read it, then you can. There's another one. Maybe these aren't particularly sarcastic. Oh, look at that, The Last Ninja as well. Oh, I was really annoyed the other day. I was on eBay. Which one's this? Ninja Remix. Yeah, funnily enough, that's the one I saw. I saw Ninja Remix on the Atari ST for $9.99, buy it now. Now, that wasn't including shipping to America, so I guess I can double the shipping to maybe 7 or 8 quid, which is still a little bit expensive, but still. And I deliberated over buying it, because I thought, well, should I get the Amiga version instead? And in the end, I ummed and ahed about it, went back to it the next day, and it had been sold. It had gone. So 10 quid, really annoyed, because usually it goes for about 15 to 20. I guess if the condition's really good, maybe even more than that. So yeah, that's a bit of a lesson learnt there, really. If you see a bargain on eBay, buy it, snap it up there and then. Just make sure you want it, of course. And there's Gods again. Brilliant music. See what I did there? Console connections. So yeah, we're just going to see a few games reviewed here for various consoles. We've got Batman there, 33 quid, 88% on the Mega Drive. There's Paul Gascoigne with his Atari links. Yeah, recovering from his injury that he gained in the FA Cup final just a month or two before. Which scuppered his move to Lazio, but then I think a year later, well, I know a year later he ended up signing for them anyway. There's G-Lock, talking about that before. 58%, so not the greatest rating in the world. 25 quid. Whatever that is. Hellfire, 30 quid on the Mega Drive, 86%. Yeah, I've seen a few people review this over the years on YouTube. Doesn't look too bad. Shinobi on the Game Gear, 78%. So yeah, more than respectable. It's funny actually. I was talking to a friend the other day. Ended up sort of talking about the Game Gear in a way. But oh no, sorry, it was a Lynx. But it started off by I sent him a message on Xbox Live, and I said to my friend, I used to go to school with him. And I said, do you still have your Game Boy? Because if he did, I was thinking of buying it back. Which, I know that's a little bit kind of maybe being overly nostalgic there. I'm not sure. And he said, well, he doesn't have that anymore, but he does have his original Lynx and Super Nintendo. And I haven't got back to him yet. But I'm kind of half tempted to say, do you want to sell it? Do you want to sell your links? Because I would have went on that links as well, back in the day. So it would be a bit of a nostalgic purchase. I guess I could always put that on a video in the future if I buy it, but I don't think he's going to want to sell it. And I'm not really sure I want to buy a links, to be honest. But it's just the fact that it's got a nice little nostalgic story to it. So we'll see on that front. Stay tuned, I guess. Yeah, I don't really know what this is. I've just been talking over the top of it. But from what I can sort of work out from reading that down there, it looks like a couple of goth graphic artists. And I guess they therefore just do art for certain games. And there's a bit of their work there. And that one as well. Which looks pretty good, to be fair. But yeah, I don't really know who they are or what games they worked on because I haven't read the article. And there's a page stuck together there for no other reason than it's probably just a bit of something. Don't jump to conclusions. Yeah, there's the other part of the interview. Street Talk, greatest feature ever. So this week it's in Southend. So if anyone, what store are they in? Estuary Computers. Anyone know where that is? Or it's probably not there anymore, I guess. And here's a look at the mullet there on Stuart Jacobs. Unbelievable. I work full-time for Estuary Computers. I've been here for 6 months now, and it's a great place to work in. I own an Amiga, but I really want to upgrade to the CD TV. Was that upgrading, really? It's really cool. My favourite game has to be Music Maker for the CD TV. I think that this machine will eventually take off in a big way. Yeah, did it? If it doesn't, the CD-ROM drive for the Amiga will. Yeah, that didn't either. So Stuart's premonitions there, thankfully, didn't come to fruition. There's Phil Thompson. He's loving it. Talking about the Dizzy games there. James Hathaway, 13. I would laugh if some people who are subscribed to me are reading this or watching this with me. Look at that, Paul Gascoigne, alias Johnny Daniels. He thinks he's Gaza. He kind of does look a bit like Gaza, actually. A bit chubby, which is, pot kettle black, I think, coming from me. Daniel O'Dwyer. He looks a bit like... Now, which one is it? This is embarrassing. I still don't know the difference all these years later between Ant and Dec. I don't know which one's which. But he looks like one of them. Unbelievable. Look at his face down there. David Pryor. Bit of a show-off. Stuart Finnegan. And yeah, just caught the end of that there by David Pryor. The mags I read include Games X. No, we didn't brainwash him, says Games X. A C&VG, Mean Machines, and Rays. What the hell is Rays? I guess if I Google it and have a look, it might, bring all the memories back. But I'm not sure if I ever read that one. I don't know what it is. And there's Keith, the manager. A very proud man. And there's his top 10 games. So that's that. Next we've got a sneak preview for Thunderhawk. Again, another flight sim. Very technically advanced. I mean, you've got to admire that, really. I know some people will scoff at the graphics, but I do think it looks really good. It just obviously caters for a specific kind of audience. But a decent looking game. Ah, Go Global. Fantastic feature. Now, what have we got here? If it wants to focus. Now, yeah, this is the thing. I think with Go Global, what they did... and I keep saying this, I think I've said it for the last 2 or 3 mags, but they did ditch this. I think it may be the next issue or the issue after that. And in the letters section, they did say they'd be bringing it back bigger and better than ever, but they didn't. They just literally binned it. There's Fred Savage down there from the Wonder Years. Even as a kid, I always thought that he had a massive head and a really small body. And, yeah, it's not really a criticism. Well, I guess it is. I don't mean it as an insult. But yeah, Go Global was basically all the things that were doing the rounds at the time in regards to music, as you can see there, and videos, movies, television, all that kind of stuff. Talking about Madonna there, Steffi Graf, who was a great tennis player, and then it talked about little foods, drinks, little gizmos, if you like, that you could buy at the time. So there's that one, which is bubblegum flavoured soft drinks. You've got a calculator there. A bit poor, really, this month. The choice is pretty poor. £6. I mean, who's going to... I was 13 back when this magazine came out. I wasn't going to race and get a calculator. They should have been putting things in like, well, maybe crisps, I guess, and the bubble gum. I get that. And I can understand this. A little Walkman. A Sanyo one there. Look at the colours. I mean, it just screams early 90s. Like late 80s, early 90s. Again, why do I want that? Head cleaners. Rubbish. And there's a guy there doing his... Nike trainers up, with his socks rolled up, of course, And there's the Lucasade bottles. Yeah, every time you're ever ill, have some Lucasade. Probably doesn't work, but the old legend, the myth, if you like, says that it does. And then we've got a letters page. Nothing particularly amazing sticks out there, but I guess you can always read them if you want. There's a cheeky chap there. I think he's pretending he's got a Neo Geo, and I don't think they believe him. And there's the star letter. So yeah, nothing, extremely interesting here. Just people writing in with questions, whatever it may be, and them getting answered. Usually they'd ask for a T-shirt, and they didn't get it. And there we've got a preview of next week's Radical Mag. Look at that, multiplayer games, plugging in for better gameplay. I wonder if that's talking about literally multiplayer, as in online. That'll be interesting, because this is, 1991. So I'll look forward to that. A bit of a screenshot there for King's Quest V. Again, another graphical adventure. I'm pretty certain that was just on the PC. Not sure it came out on the Amiga and the Atari ST, but maybe it did. But a really good game anyway. And that's that. At the back, we've got an advert for the Simpsons arcade machine, which you could win, but it's an 0898 number, so you'd have to spend an absolute fortune to even be in with a chance of winning it, and you probably would never win it anyway. So there we go. See the Dreamcast in the background? There we go there. Yeah, issue 8 from the 16th to the 20th of June, 1991. Games X, unbelievable. The greatest magazine ever. Well, alright, maybe not the greatest ever, but perhaps the greatest under-the-radar magazine ever that you didn't know about. Possibly. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you next time.